So guys, Mr. Dele Farotimi has reacted to the Igbo problem we have in this country, and also there is this economist, who has been trending on Twitter because of some of the comments, that he made. He did a fantastic job recently when he was interviewed on Channels Television talking about Tinubu and him being self-centered when it comes to Lagos and Yoruba land. Everything should just be centered on Lagos, like the seaport, a state that is struggling with infrastructure. You have too much of the population in Lagos, and that why is it that the federal government is not talking of a kind of reviving those seaports we have like in other parts of the country. And people just keep wondering, what are the Southeast leaders doing? You are going to be listening to what Mr. Dele Farotimi said about the marginalization of the Igbos that has led to what Nnamdi Kanu is doing, and that even the course Nnamdi Kanu is pursuing is not wrong if you look at it critically. I mean, from a patriotic point of view, this is not a time of sentiment as in being tribal. Let's just be patriotic. If you check everything the Igbos are saying in terms of them being marginalized, you know that it's true. Just check within this APC period of being in power from Buhari to Tinubu, nobody mentions Igbo land. I mean, you dare not. Why should you mention them? They should go and work and labor and labor until whatever they get, let them take. But it's good that we have some patriotic voices who say it the way it is. I want you to take your time and just watch this video the way it is, and let me know your honest report in the comment section below. Take a look.
If there isn't, I should say, if there aren't validities to the demands of Nnamdi Kanu or his grievances, there will be no currency to his words. But he speaks clearly, speaking the mind and the grievances and the pains of the people. To ignore what he is saying will be stupid. He is the one who has embraced the use of the language that the Nigerian state understands. But he is not the only person who is aggrieved in Nala Igbo. Killing Nnamdi Kanu today, there are 1,000 waiting to take his place. Because the reality is that he is not speaking to his personal pain. He is speaking to the pains of a people. When you are
in 2006, a contract was awarded to a Dutch company to embark on rehabilitation of that seaport and to raise the channel draft. The government had issues with the company over contract variation costs, and that lingered for a long time. When the government attempted to go back to do it, the company says that you cannot, and the case was in court. In 2022, that case was taken out of court for out-of-court settlement. The immediate past MD of MPA says that, they've taken the case out of court, we're going to work on raising the channel draft. The Calabar seaport is dead. Like, you barely have vessels coming there, maybe one vessel per week compared to Lagos. How do you build an economy when the smallest state by landmass that has the highest per capita income with the highest population, right, has the only functioning seaport in Nigeria, while everybody else is left to go home and dry? It doesn't make sense. This is the reason why I'm saying to the president that it is economic injustice, and Nigeria is structurally skewed to favor Lagos economy. And this is the basic truth. The Calabar deep seaport draft has not been done. The documents at the ICRC has been cleared for Akwa Ibom deep seaport project in Ibom. The federal government has sat on it because if you look at the structure, 20% of the shares belongs to the federal government, 20% belongs to the state government, and 60% belongs to interested private sector investor. And that 60% was given as a 34-year concession, a PPP with Bolloré Logistics, like 2 or 3 years ago. Bolloré, the French company, ended up selling itself to MSC, Mediterranean Shipping Company. Mediterranean said they are doing revalidation. Why is the federal government not putting as much effort in making sure that they start building Akwa Ibom deep sea port, like they did for Lekki deep sea port in Lekki Free Trade Zone. And now the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy is saying that they are going to, cut investors, and they are doing drawings to see that they start Bakassi deep sea port. How can Lagos have 3 functioning seaports with a 4th one in the works and every other place is languishing? How do you build an economy when everything is centered around Lagos? Is it because the Lagos establishment is afraid that if there is an operational seaport in the eastern maritime flank, which geographically is better for maritime operations, you're going to have diversion of port operations from the southeast, the south-south, the northeast to Akwa Ibom? Is it because they're afraid of revenue losses? It doesn't make any sense. We have to say the truth to power.
All right. Kevin, you're right. We have to say the truth to power. And thank you for doing that as well. And, yesterday you put out a series of tweets highlighting these issues regarding the Calabar seaport. But you also stated in your tweet about the fact that the southeast is the only region in the whole of Nigeria that doesn't have a high-pressure transmission pipe for gas running through it. I'd love for you to highlight that as well. And now you've asked the federal government to decentralize port operations to the Eastern Maritime Corridor, so that the southeast and the northeast can benefit. Now, why do you believe that this has been so difficult to achieve?
Oji, it's interesting you ask this question. And the reason I don't know what the Southeast Governors Forum are doing. I don't know what they discuss when they meet. But there are critical areas that we must address. And we must bring to the table as soon as possible. The Southeast, yes, is the only region that does not have a high-pressure gas transmission pipe to take natural gas through it. You have the AKK, the Ajaokuta, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano. There is a second phase of that AKK that goes to Gausu in Zamfara. Now, in that AKK, you have pressure metering and reduction stations in Gwagwalada for Abuja. You have in Kaduna, you have in Kano. And then you're also going to have in Gausu when the second phase starts. That AKK is what the government hopes to extend for transnational gas pipeline through Niger Republic to Algeria, even if I don't think that will be feasible because of the lack of diplomatic relationship between Niger Republic and the Nigerian government in Abuja. Okay? The Southeast does not have a pipe that runs through it, despite the fact that Abia State produces a lot of natural gas. In 2007, Ibe Kachuku designed Nigerian Gas Master Plan. And in that master plan, he put a 121-kilometer pipe that is supposed to extend from Aba to Owerri, to Enugu, to Onitsha, and then to Nnewi. The government says that no, they want to do a TNGP pipe extension from Abia State to Ajaokuta, and the second phase is going to go from Abia State to Enugu to Ajaokuta. That is going to take gas away from the southeast, not through the southeast. You need a pipe that extends that, because you need gas for glass fabrication, you need gas for urea, you need gas for power. 40% of the gas that is typically produced every day, either through associated gas that you get when you drill crude oil, or through non-associated gas fields. It's used for electricity. So how do you want to increase generation and increase feedstock to the gencos in the southeast if you don't build a high-pressure transmission pipe? Whose responsibility is it to make sure that this happens? It's the Nigerian Gas Infrastructure Company, which is a subsidiary of the NNPC group. So my question to the management of NNPC is, why have they refused to commission FID for gas pipes to the southeast? Why have the Southeast Governors Forum not gotten into a meeting with the president to ask him why the region does not have a gas pipe that runs through it? What exactly is wrong that it seems that there is like a calculated power share between the northwest and the southwest, and until every other region in Nigeria gets permission from the northwest and the southwest, nothing happens in their region? It doesn't make any sense. How can Mr. President be talking about renewed hope and economic transformation and increase in the per capita income of Nigerians and prosperity for Nigerians, about building a $1 trillion economy, when everything is centered around Lagos? Somebody imports a 40-foot container from Guangzhou to Lagos and it will cost him 5 or 6 million naira to truck it to Aba. And you don't expect that he's going to pass on that inflation cost to the people, considering the fact that we don't have standard gauge rail lines that extend horizontally from the southwest to the southeast. It's marginalization, economic marginalization, and we have to speak truth to power.
All right, then if I can come in here, Mr. Kevin, and you have touched on very salient points this morning. But if we focus on how to decentralize these port operations, with port activities concentrated in Lagos, Nigeria is still facing issues of congestion, of inefficiency, and like you even said, increased cost of doing business, because at the end of the day, it's the consumer who bears the brunt of, of what's currently happening. So when we look at why decentralizing the port operations across the country, including strategic seaports like Calabar, One, Warri, remaining a persistent challenge, what are those systemic reforms? What are those infrastructural investments that are necessary to make this decentralization a reality?
Cheito, I'll tell you what. Well, one of the reasons why house rent has been skyrocketing in Lagos, which also contributes to inflation that you have in Lagos, is because demand is higher than supply of houses in Lagos. Lagos is creating, there isn't enough infrastructure to accommodate the population. And that's because you've centralized the entire Nigerian economy. The contribution of Lagos to real GDP is 23%. Lagos State's factor IGRA ratio is 22% to 78%, which means 78% IGR, 22% FAC. Lagos State generates 26% equivalent. Lagos generates revenues equal to what 26 states in Nigeria generates. 26 states in Nigeria, which means Lagos is the most viable economy. Okay? If you want to...
Let's go straight to the fact that Simon Ekpa has been arrested. And will this stop insecurity in the Southeast? What do you think? Some are saying the emergence of a new female leader, a female, has occurred. So what do you think? Will this stop the insecurity we're experiencing in the Southeast?
To be honest, I think for me, the place I want to start off this conversation is to try to paint a picture of how terrible things are in the Southeast. I was reading a report recently by a group of NGOs and authored by one Emeka Umeabolasi and his colleagues, and they documented a lot of atrocities that have happened in the entire Southeast, where in their reckoning, over 65,000 people had been victims of kidnapping and what have you, and over 32,000 deaths from different, whether state actors and non-state actors. And all of these things tell you the level of deterioration we've suffered. And what is saddening is what has happened even in recent time, particularly in my own dear state, Anambra, where nobody's spared. Archbishops are not spared. House of Assembly members not spared. Reverend fathers, reverend sisters, lawyers, nobody's spared. It's just a matter of who's going to be the next victim. And when this happens, there is not even any hope inside, no rescue inside. It's just when the criminals decide to leave you off, if they decide to murder you or sell your body parts, it's their decision. And they do this unchecked. There's no threat of, oh, we're going to be arrested, nothing like that. They can spend a whole 30 minutes, 1 hour in an incident, and this is how bad it's become. And so when we're now going to go into the root cause of this, I don't think it's appropriate to just coalesce it into IPOB activities, because that's what your question is tending to suggest. Arrest of Simon Ekpa, will it stop? As if that's the only, no. Let's go deep into what are actually the root causes of this issue. In my opinion, again, it's just when you have poor leadership, because even within the same Southeast, some states are better than some. Anambra is seen as the worst today. Enugu is relatively better. Abia is better. What are they doing differently? It's still the same. And guess what? Sam Ekpa is not even from Anambra State. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not even from Anambra State. Why is Anambra the worst? Boils down to issue of leadership. Now, let's talk about the IPOB. I believe that agitation actually is not a wrong thing in itself. Somebody saying, this is what I want, it's not a wrong thing. How you go about it could be wrong. And how also the government treats it could be wrong. And that's what we've been facing today. I'm one of those who have called for release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I don't think the continued detention, incarceration, and all of this is helping matters. And quite frankly, I don't know Simon Ekpa. We see some of the videos he does, and whether he changes, replaces, I think is irrelevant to what we're talking about. Because what has happened is that there are now huge criminal elements that hide under the auspice of IPOB to create all manner of issues. But truly speaking, they are not agitators. They are criminals. So what I say to leaders, forget about this nomenclature. Deal with criminals of whatever form. Something happened recently in Anambra State where a priest was kidnapped. Another reverend father had to call a governor of another state for help to track what happened in Anambra State. And when the whole thing was done and finally, thankfully, the priest was released, they had to go back to the governor in Enugu State to say, thank you for helping us. What I'm saying to you is that it's not just the case of the Southeast governors. Let's be specific. Some are doing much better than others. In the case of Anambra State, I have no clue what is going on. Why can't we, since the beginning of this administration by Governor Soludo, we haven't seen much being done in the area of insecurity. We've not seen even vehicles bought for security agencies. You hear cases of when they're even sent to work, they get demotivated, demoralized, and then they just ignore. And then if you look at all the cases that have happened, the same story. There's not any attempt to rescue.
But that's not the picture. I interviewed him here. That's not the picture the governor painted. The picture, because I told him that. So I'm said in 15 local government areas, they were asking the president to declare state of emergency, but he said it must be some, for lack of, let me not use miscreants, some people he doesn't know, but that they've done quite some good job at their speech in Anambra State. That's what he said.
This is, I don't want us to shift this into a debate, because it's not. Do me one favor. You have your correspondent in Awka. Figure out what is going on. In Anambra State, the government house, few meters away at Nibo, they were celebrating New Year Festival. Criminals took their time, killed many people. Up to today, not a single person has been arrested. In the case of Awka North, the entire of the Urum bush and all of that, if you see and hear evidences from kidnapped victims who were thankfully released, and they tell their story, it is alarming. Once this interview is over, I'm going to share a lot more. Okay. The point here is that every single Anambra person who is savvy enough to understand what is going on, we all come to the same conclusion that nothing has been done so far. It's not a matter of these things are happening, but what is our response? Where is the leadership? What are you doing to create, first of all, the intelligence, the control room, where you monitor and see what is happening in different parts of Anambra State? What are you doing to empower the security agencies? And how do you craft the architecture that bring it down to the local units? How do you integrate the Igbos, the town unions, into all of this? How do you actually even provide sufficient empowerment for young people so that they can be gainfully employed? How do you become a source of inspiration and hope so that people will know that if they work hard, they will make a living? The point here is that we are in a situation where, guess what? Everybody is helpless and there is no hope in sight. And just recently, it's saying that after Christmas, it's going to launch some security initiative. And people are saying, why wait until after Christmas? Are you using that for a re-election gimmicks or what? Why? What happened in the first 3 years of your administration? Why are you waiting on the twilight to launch? Because we say this because we know sometimes what usually happens is leadership. They are usually the architect of some of these things. They empower criminals for political gains. And when they're not in power, They don't know how to treat these criminals. How do you even recover some of the guns you've armed wrong people? And this is what we keep saying. And it's not just in Nigeria. The whole case of banditry, you hear cases
across
of
the length and
yes,
breadth of
you
the
hear
country.
cases of these people actually came in through the politicians who use them for nefarious activities. And then when the job is done for them, what next? They have
Because
no
they
answer.
don't have employment.
They have no answer.
So guys, you have seen it for yourself. Yes, everybody is seeing that this marginalization is real. I mean, it's real. It's not just people talking. It's real. And people are asking, where are the Southeast leaders? We've seen the Northerners who have come out boldly, boldly challenging Tinubu's policies that they feel will not be in support of the North, the ordinary Northerner. We've seen Northern governors, lambasting Tinubu for his policies, tax reform, and whatever. These people have dared Tinubu to his face. Not the Southeast leaders, because they are looking for inclusion. Not the Southeast leaders, because they want to belong. Not the Southeast leaders, because they don't want to be in Tinubu's bad book. Not the Southeast leaders, because they are looking for opportunities. Not the liberation of the Igbos. Not because they want Igbos to survive wherever they are. We saw Igbo businesses being destroyed in Lagos. Were there people that really stood up to fight for the Igbos? They weren't. And then one chief in Lagos became so frustrated to the point that he now said they were going to call on IPOBs from the Southeast to come help them defend their possession in Lagos. I'm telling you. And guess what? That man was picked up. I don't even think if he has been released. There was a time, there was this news that he has been released, but I don't know. That is what Igbos have got to go through in Nigeria. And they say, give us referendum, let's be on our own. You will not give them. Allow us to express our liberty in Nigeria. You will not let them. What kind of country is this? So guys, you have seen it. There is no developmental projects in the Southeast by the federal government. No. Tinubu just came in and now say he wants to build coastal highway that we from Akwa Ibom, or is it from Calabar to Lagos? Everything is Lagos, 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 Lagos. Nobody thinks of the Southeast. Nobody thinks of where the oil and gas is coming from. Nobody. Look at Bayelsa. Recently, anytime there is flood in Bayelsa, go and check and see how the people be struggling. Their resources is being taken and used to develop other areas, and they are dying in abject poverty. The federal government does not have no outstanding projects in the South. No outstanding projects in the Southeast. And these are regions that provide the federal government with the oil money that Nigeria uses. And you ignore them because they are mostly Igbos. If you empower Igbos, maybe they will fight another Biafran war. And because of that, you are splitting this country. And the country is not progressing. How can a house stand when it's divided? It's not possible. How do you expect Nigeria to progress when a particular section, a particular tribe is being suppressed so that their businesses will die? But because God is with them, check all the federal government policies in Nigeria. None has favored the Igbos. Instead, they will target Igbo businesses and get them banned, and people will lose money. So, guys, it's really, really so sad seeing what's happening in this country. But I hope that one day Messiah will come. A real patriotic Messiah. It may come from the north. It may come from the south. I don't care which region, which tribe. But one day, a patriotic man will come. Will come up as a leader of Nigeria, who will call all the tribes of this country on a round table and make them feel belong. And tell every part that if we are giving you 10%, we are giving every other person 10%. Nobody, no region is more Nigerian than the other. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.